really wanted to kind of touch on, different ways to market our products. And that's a big one. Like I said, that's the biggest way that we really got the farm up and running and scaled up quickly. Over the years, we worked with probably over 60 chefs and restaurants, and it was really integral to getting that regular cash flow, consistent sales year round. And of course, the downside is, you're not getting as much profit when you're selling directly to a chef or a restaurant. But tonight, really want to kind of touch on a couple of things, different opportunities, different options for us marketing and selling our products. I remember when I first started the farm, I think I sold a chicken to my mom, and then a couple days later, she told my aunts, and my aunt bought one, and that was like the extent of it for like a couple months. I was posting stuff on social media, and I was asking friends, and that was like my two sales, and that was it. And I was like, this might be where the farm lives and dies right here, and this might it could be the end of it all. And then I did just like you did, David. I had a chef come out to the farm. He was interested. He lived nearby and he checked out what we were doing. I told him what I was doing. He's like, yeah, it sounds great. I was like, cool. He's like, when do you want to have birds? And I was like, well, it'll be, 2 weeks or whatever until these birds are ready. He's like, I'll buy 24. And I was like blown away. And like 24 birds is not like life changing. You're making $10 a bird, it's 240 bucks. But for me, like it was just like, whoa, this dude, like he owns a chef, a real, really nice restaurant in the area. He believes in what I'm doing, gave me confidence in myself to keep going. And that he believed in my product, and it was so cool. And that just kind of launched, made me start thinking, hey, maybe I really can do this and really make a business out of this. And yeah, so it's cool. So good for you, man. I want to touch on kind of some of the other opportunities here. So of course, the first one I want to touch on is maybe an on-farm store. This is one way we can sell our products, right? We got some product, we need to figure out how to get eyeballs on our product, how to sell it, how to move it. On-farm stores are great because for a lot of reasons. I think probably one of the best marketing channels for a couple of reasons. People come to you. If you have an on-farm stand, on-farm store, you don't have to ship it, you don't have to deliver it. Every time I get people out to the farm, people buy. And it's almost really rare when people leave the farm like, okay, thanks, Jeff, and see you later. Like and so one way that I'll get people out to the farm is I'll say, hey, I'm doing a farm tour. So if you're new at beginning, people don't really know about you, post on Facebook, send an email out to your list, say, hey, we're doing a farm tour this Saturday. It's free, doesn't cost you anything. Come up at 10 o'clock. You'll get to see the animals, pet them, take pictures, feed the pigs, whatever. And people love that kind of stuff. And they'll come out, and after you walk around with them for an hour and a half or so on your farm and tell them about what you're doing, they're gonna be pretty committed and bought into what you're doing. You tell them about why you're doing this, and the benefits of the food and the benefits to the environment, everything you're doing, they're gonna be sold. Just like you found, David. You talked to the guy for 2 hours, he's sold on what you're doing, and they're gonna, at the end of the tour, I end it right next to our freezer where our sign is. It has our price list, has all of our products right there. And I said, this is what we have. You're welcome to purchase some stuff. I'm ready to take cards, and not everybody does, but usually a lot of people do. And those people that are bought in, usually they're not buying one thing, they're buying like a couple $100 worth of stuff a lot of times. So it's pretty cool. Um, so having an on-farm store, people come to you. You don't have to worry about shipping, delivery, distribution. Makes that super simple. You really build that trust and connection with people, and hopefully they become repeat visitors. And when you couple this with a farm tour or another reason for them to come out to the farm, such as an educational lesson, you can do something like a processing demo. Show people how you process stuff like that. It gets people interested. The disadvantage, of course, is keeping proper staffing and proper hours. And if you're just beginning, it's a good idea maybe just to start it, like do it like, just one Saturday a month, and then you can increase to every Saturday, and then you can maybe do Friday and Saturdays, that kind of thing, and hire some staff. A lot of people do farm stores, and they aggregate a lot of other products. So if they're just doing, pigs and chicken, they might buy beef or milk or bread from other producers and do it that way. Um, and the other disadvantage of a farm store is it's hard to scale, right? There's a ceiling how many people are going to come out, especially if you're in a rural area. You don't, it can be tricky to get people to come out there. There's pluses and minuses just with everything else. The other thing I really like to do a lot of is farmers markets. So after we started doing a lot of chefs and restaurants, we started to pivot to farmers markets during COVID because restaurants weren't buying for a period of time. People weren't going out to eat. And I was like, oh crap, what do we do? I got all these birds in the freezer and restaurants aren't buying right now. And so we pivoted to some farmers markets. And it was real slow at first, but we kind of stuck with it. And I found that farmers markets are fantastic for a couple reasons. One, you've got a large crowd of people that want local food. We've got a super awesome farmers market nearby. It's not the biggest farmers market. It's not the biggest, most robust one, but the vendors there are fantastic. It's known for to have really good food, really good vendors, really good food artisans, and people that love their food come to this market. And so you've got a hungry crowd. You've got people that want what you're selling, and it's just one day a week to commit to it, right? Which is kind of nice. You go there, you show up for a couple hours, you sell three, four, 500, maybe a couple $1,000 worth of product, just depending on the market, and you go home. You don't have to deliver, you don't have to ship, you just go there, sell it, and go home, and you got instant sales, instant cash in your pocket. The other thing we like to do at the farmers market is collect email addresses. And so I'll set up a sign up sheet, has people put down their name, email, phone number. There's also a QR code, and that's really nice. I'll tell them to scan the QR code, brings up a form. They can put in their name, email, phone number, so I can continue to talk to them, send them emails, tell them about what we're doing. Um, the disadvantages of farmers market courses, it requires that regular commitment every weekend. A lot of people don't want to sacrifice every Saturday. I have two little kids. I have a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old, and so sometimes, especially now, it's really hard to want to spend my Saturday at the farmers market when my son has soccer practice and stuff. So now I've hired people to kind of take that burden so I can be free on weekends. Um, the other thing that sucks about it is sometimes the weather is so unpredictable. If it's super rainy or cold, people may not show up, and then you're still kind of committed. And the fees can be significant. If you're paying somebody to be at that market, and then you're also paying, $50 a week or whatever it is for that market fee, and you only do a couple $100 in sales, you start to weigh it out like, is this really worth it? But if you can dial that market in, figure out how to get your ticket price up, figure out how to make those sales work, it can be extremely valuable. And you're also getting real-time feedback from customers. You're building that connection. You're getting feedback from them. They're telling you what they like, what they don't like. You're getting ideas about what to change, what to improve. You're playing with pricing. If this is selling out every week, maybe I need to bump up the price on that. If I'm not moving any of these, how can I move this? How this is not moving, this is not selling. Maybe I need to lower the price, or maybe I can bundle it with another product to help move it, that sort of thing. The next piece I want to talk about a little bit is an online store. Um, Online stores are awesome because it's basically a 24/7 farmers market. You can get in front of your customers day and night, any time of the day. You can offer them coupons, promotions, discounts, special things. You get repeat buyers, especially if you can do a subscription-based model. You can get somebody to buy from you one time, put it on a subscription, then you're getting paid every month, right? And that's really nice. Online store is infinitely scalable. Unlike all these other options, you can grow it as big as you want to get it, and you don't have to commit your Saturdays. The downside of an online store is the cost of getting customers can be high. So especially if you're doing advertising, things like this, it can be very slow growth, and it can take a long time to get customers to it and make it start turning. And finding those customers, especially if you're doing like paid advertising, can be very costly. You also have to figure out logistics. Are you going to ship? Are you going to do local delivery? Are you going to make people pick up on farm? Are you going to do a combination of those three? So you got to figure those out. Um, it's going to require some tech knowledge. I'm not the most technological person, but I've had to hire people to help me and stuff on certain aspects. And so you have to know how to do that, or hire someone to kind of help maintain it. And there's a lot of competition out there, right? You see, um, what's the butcher box, I mean, these are huge companies invested hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars into online stores selling food direct to consumer, and so you're kind of competing with that in a way. What makes you stand out, your online store, is that it's your farm. People can relate to it one-on-one personally. Whereas they're not getting that same connection when they're just buying beef from butcher box, right? It's very different. And so people want to support local, they want to support you. And it can, so online store can be fantastic if you can figure out how to get eyeballs to it, how to get customers to it for not too expensive, how to set it up, and how to make it streamlined. But that's the challenge, is getting people to come to your online stores. Doesn't matter how good it is if it's not It can be the best online store in the world, but if you can't get eyeballs to it, it doesn't do you a lot of good. Yeah, so we talked about wholesale outlets, chefs, restaurants a little bit. Great thing is it's regular, consistent orders year round. It also helps boost your farm brand. People see your farm name on a menu that gives you a lot of recognition, can bring other customers in. There's a lot of times people saw us on a menu, people saw us in a restaurant, and they looked us up, Googled us, and then they became customers of ours. So that's kind of cool. Um, the disadvantage is, of course, you're selling it for a lower profit margin when you're wholesaling it. And if your costs increase just a little bit more than you expected, that can throw your whole margin off. And you want to keep those customers happy, right? So sometimes fulfillment can be tricky if your wholesale buyer dramatically increases or decreases what they thought they were going to purchase. So that can kind of throw things off. Special events or something I haven't done a lot of really, but it can be a fantastic way to create a lot of buzz and get a lot of customers on your farm. So think of doing like an on-farm dinner, have a local chef, private chef come out. You can set up, do some food for folks. Customers come to you. You start building a relationship with them. Does require some planning, but they can be a real hit, especially if you're starting out to really launch your farm, get people talking about you, get the local paper to write something about it. I mean, it can be special events like that can be really huge just for launching your farm, getting your name out there. Um, Business partners. So this is kind of what you're talking about, David. We have done a little bit of this. So if you have a partner, great options would be like gyms, chiropractors, health spas, stuff like that. You can contact those owners, especially if you already have somewhat of a relationship with them, and say, hey, why don't we do something? I'd love to offer your customers some, good local food, some protein. What do you think? And they might say, yeah. And so you can offer maybe, a free sample. You can pitch it to the gym owner and say, hey, if your customers purchase your gym subscription for a year, maybe we can throw in a free order of wings or something like that, just to kind of promote the farm. And maybe he might even agree to pay you directly for that. You got to kind of work out how that relationship works and what that's going to look like. Another option is you can just say, hey, I'd love to just give your customers an option to purchase food from us. Would you be okay if I just put a small freezer here just to store products that have been prepaid? I'll just put up a flyer, says, here's what we have, here's our price list. If you want something, email me, call me. There's different ways you can do it. And then you can drop that order off, leave it in the freezer with their name on it, and just kind of use the honor system or have it behind the counter where the receptionist can use it. And she's like, hey, yeah, I'm picking up my order for I'm here, Jeff, to pick up my order. And she can grab it and hand the bag, the pre-purchase stuff. So that's a great way you can get that. And then you can it's kind of like a vending machine, right? Like you said, you can have these different points at different locations that people can purchase in advance, or you might even do an option where you just stock the freezer and put a price tag on it, and the gym sells it, and you give them a cut. So there's a lot of different ways you can make this arrangement work for you, but it's a great way to do it with strategic local business partners. Wanting to exercise, wanting to be healthy are going to go hand in hand with wanting to eat healthy as well. And it's another perk that the gym owner can put on his thing when he's trying to get somebody to purchase a yearly subscription to his gym. He say, oh, you also get exclusive, rights to this farm, or you'll get a discount from this farm or something like that that he can throw in there too, which is. And then I'm just going to mention the last piece here, just paid advertising. So, a lot of folks, I don't know if you guys have dabbled much with like, Facebook advertising or like doing a boost post on like Instagram, stuff like that. Um, you know, Paid advertising is tricky. It's highly scalable. You can, if you have a big budget, you can have unlimited customers. If you do it right, you can really grow the farm business. If you have a budget to do that, it's tricky because it takes a lot of time and development and trial and error, finding out what advertising works. What is the headline you need to use? What's the photo that resonates with people? How do you do your targeting? And setting up the pixels and making sure everything is in sync, and experimenting, trying to find out what works and what doesn't. And so, um, it's a math equation of how much money you put in versus how much you get back out. Is that positive? And if it's not positive, was it worth the investment? Did you get okay, we didn't get any orders, but we got 50 new email subscribers. Was that worth it? And so Paid advertising is tricky. We have spent an awful lot of money, myself personally, trying to figure this out, and we found some things that work pretty well in this realm. And I guess I put it in here because it's a great strategy, but it does take work and it takes a lot of experimentation and just prepared to either pay somebody to do it or spend a lot of money trying to figure it out on your own is what I guess I'm saying here. But it does work. So what of these have you guys tried, or which ones sound interesting to you out of that list here? And if you'd like to get more information like this, go ahead and click the link down below in the description. It's going to have a link to my farm marketing quick start course, which is a course that is built strictly to give you great information on marketing your farm, getting more customers, and getting more sales. The course is free, doesn't cost a dime. All you have to do is click the link below and you can get immediate access to my farm marketing quick start course. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.